Hey everyone, my name is Rooster, and welcome back to Mechabellum. In today's video, I'll be featuring two different players. We have Krabumsel on the blue side versus Narayan, who is also a streamer, on the red side. I happened to stumble upon this game when I was watching it during stream, and honestly, it's an exciting one. So let's get into it. We've got Training Specialist here for Krabumsel, starting with Arclights and Steel Balls. Nice opening pack, 5k hit points. Arclights currently are probably my favorite opening unit. Very, very good. You can just play defensive with it. The steel balls you can kind of just stack on one side of the board and you'll be a-okay. And that looks like what Krabumsel is going to be doing. Now, Narayan also starts with steel balls but has the crawlers and has a Typhoon Specialist to boot, and it does look like he'll be playing some aggro with it. This is much less common these days. I feel like, especially at high MMR, and I mean in this game we're talking about 2k, 2.1k, thereabouts. Aggro Steel Ball is not as popular anymore because they really do struggle into the wall specifically. In this match, I mean, there's a wall plus a small turret, which is not the worst to push into. But yeah, here, Krabumsel decides to go for a full symmetrical layout. It's not something I would recommend. He also leveled the Arclight, and you can see now that that side is getting pushed. And even though, level 2 Arclight is great, if it's singled out like this, and it has to face, 2-3 more packs of units, it is going to die, and it is worth a lot of experience. So, I don't know exactly what it went towards. I think it went towards the Marksman, which I guess is fine. Leveled steel balls would be a bigger problem. But yeah, typically I would recommend to just like stack the steel balls on one side. Now you're giving Narayan a way in. Even still, right side does have some pressure this way. Steel balls did manage to get a debuff. And, well, it comes down to this end fight here on round 1, where Narayan will be going for the second tower. This turret already fell, so he might be able to get away with this. No chaff clear left, though, so these crawlers could get in the way. It's 4 steel balls versus 4 steel balls. Debuff there, definitely in favor of Narayan, but it looks like in the end he will lose, and Krabumsel actually levels the steel ball. Alright, perhaps I don't know what I'm talking about. Yeah, level steel ball there is nasty. And on round 2, immediately we get some unit reinforcements. Hounds picked up for Krabumsel. I guess it's fine. I mean, if you run Incendiary Bomb, that can definitely be something to go for when you get the Hounds for practically free. Narayan here opting to go for, I believe, what was that? Was it? I don't even know what he picked up. I guess it was a Sabertooth into a cell, probably. Very interesting. We have another Sledgehammer pickup for Krabumsel. Honestly, good move. Sledgehammers are great at stalling this type of push, so I like the way that he's approaching this. He has a lot of pressure still on that right side that does need to be addressed somewhat, at least by Narayan. Doesn't need much. I mean, a crawler plus an Arclight or something, or even just a Fang at this point, could stall this for long enough. Instead, he just goes for more crawlers and picks up a Typhoon, his very first of the match. That is early, though, to pick that up, but he is able to do so thanks to the unlock already being there from his specialist. So Steel Ball plus Typhoon. This is a comp that you would see more often in the past. It's a bit tricky because obviously it loses to Scorpion. But if your opponent doesn't get Scorpion in time, or if you manage to get a lot of levels, it can be a bit of a menace. And I mean, you can always transition into something like an air unit with Typhoon. Try and get into something like Overlord to fix any issues you may have on the ground. Right side again goes down, so Narayan here perhaps disrespecting that right side push a little bit too much. He's still doing alright on the left, but doesn't have that much in terms of units. And yeah, second debuff comes through, and even the left side balls now leveling. So actually this symmetrical setup from Krabumsel is working out a lot better than expected. Round number 3, good items. Improved firepower, definitely a fantastic one for Narayan. Immediately throws it onto that Typhoon. Manages to pick up a level on his steel ball as well. Honestly, like, I would probably try and pick up these levels if I were Krabumsel. Maybe he needs to worry a little bit about anti-air here because he doesn't have any, but at the same time, Narayan already has Typhoons and Marksman, so it's unlikely he will buy a Phoenix. Maybe he would go for something like a Wasp, but it feels like he's really locked in right now and trying to set up his Typhoons. So I think it's fine to take a gamble for Krabumsel, especially with 5k hit points, and just kind of play for the ground fight. Goes for a Mustang, another good item, or good unit at least, to throw that improved firepower on. Doesn't really get to use his intensive that much though. Just levels up a Hound, which will be able to kill this Crawler on the flank, but perhaps a bit lackluster. Right now, just kind of running out of money, I guess. I would have really tried to get a Steel Ball level here if I could. I don't think right side needs it per se, but a Steel Ball level would have been nice just to kind of stat check. And look at this. One Steel Ball manages to push through there. That is fortunate for Narayan. Gets the debuff, and thanks to that, the Typhoons are unlocked. Right side, Double Fang got added, so you can see that there's a lot more stalling now. Eventually, those units will get in, but by that point, Narayan has already managed to win the left side of the board, and it looks like maybe this time he'll manage to pick up a round win. Just has to push into that right side, take the tower, kill the Arclight, and now it's really just the Steel Balls that are left. Although this Arclight is putting in some work, I will say. Manages to take out one Typhoon, but yeah, here we go. Narayan with the round win. And we go over to round number 4. Immediate skip here from Narayan. Nothing too impressive in there, so it makes sense. And immediate barrier pickup very early, considering it's an expensive tech. But, I mean, he set up all the Typhoons, so I guess it is a good play here. And this is where Typhoon kind of shines. It's definitely the best tech on the unit. And what's so good about it is it protects your Chaff from being missiled. So you can just put Crawlers kind of underneath the shields, and now the defender can't just missile these in the late game. They will have to kill the shield, then kill the Crawlers to get to the Typhoons, which can be real tricky because you've got late Crawlers coming in, and those can make sure that you just don't lock onto the Typhoons, you know, at the rate that you need to. Now, Oil gets put down here by Narayan, kind of a nasty move. Goes for a very greedy positioning with the vertical Oil. Now, it should work for this one round. After that, Krabumsel could just beacon around because, of course, it's not wide at all. I would probably try and layer it a bit more diagonal to prevent that from being a viable option. But, you know, for this round, it'll definitely get things done. Double attack enhancement is crazy here from Krabumsel. Definitely being a bit greedy, I think. No techs whatsoever, just more sledgehammers to stall. But, you know, taking double attack enhancement on round 4 eats through a lot of your resources, whereas Narayan has really, really beefed up his board now with that Typhoon dropping and also picking up the barrier tech. So he should be winning here. I mean, you can see the right side, that Oil is just stalling forever. But yeah, left will get through, and with that, Typhoons may even pick up some levels. You can see here, enough experience has been accrued. Maybe this one can take a level 2, although it is a little bit far removed. Tower level, maybe a bit too early. I mean, it is useful down the line, but all of the units are getting in front of it. So you can see now, the tower isn't really tanking for any purpose. All of the units have already died. Typically, you would want the tower to be tanking, whilst you have other units able to kind of make use of that and start engaging with the enemy units. Typhoons still crushing. Steel Balls do get a tower debuff, but again, it's a couple Crawlers left, so shouldn't be too much more. Looks like only one Typhoon level here in the end, but Narayan definitely has tempo on his side. Round number 5, immediate unit reinforcements, so very early ones this game. Farseer, the pickup for Krabumsel. Not the biggest fan of this, but I guess he did need some anti-air, as I mentioned, and there is a Wasp in here, so it makes some sense. Although, well, he had the Mustang. So actually, I would probably recommend he takes the Void Eyes, but here we go. He picks up Farseer in the back and then just buys Scorpions. I was going to say Void Eyes could make sense. They're quite good at dealing damage to mid-sized units like Steel Balls, so would have been decent. Looks like the Farseer just ends up getting sold in the end. I mean, he does have that Mustang potentially there to kill the Wasp. It's unranged for the time being, so a bit precarious, but you gotta take some risks. And yeah, here we go. Scorpion. So perhaps a bit late. I think on the round he went double attack. Krabumsel definitely could have gone for Scorpions instead. Goes for the range tech first too. I think this might be better if he went double shot, because he needs to get through those shields. But you know, this range tech will likely be required down the line anyway. And meanwhile, we have levels here for Narayan. Picks up a Farseer in the end, covers his flank with it. And that seems to be kind of most of the round. Taking all the levels, very expensive. More marksmen getting picked up. At this point, I'd say maybe a bit too many marksmen. But, okay, he adds one on the right to try and catch this Arclight and those steel balls. Not enough money to go for the beacon, so in the end, this vertical oil does, you know, get a ton of value for Narayan. Scorpion immediately locked on, by the way. Looks like the Chaff clear isn't too much of an issue right now for Krabumsel. And look at this Scorpion. I mean, it is feasting. Only a couple shots fired, but already taking down multiple Typhoons and getting a lot of experience thanks to it. Scorpion will take down the shield, but this is where Typhoons sometimes can be annoying to kill, even with Scorpions. You can see that it sometimes just takes like one shot to kill a singular shield, and then you need another one to kill the second shield, and another one to try and connect with the Typhoons. And, you know, in the meantime, you could have crawlers getting in the way, and Scorpions don't have a quick reload time. It can be a little bit of an issue. Looks like he's in a better spot now, though. At least managed to clear some Typhoons. This one is getting scary. Level 2 Typhoon getting towards level 3. Has to keep an eye on that, but, you know, with the intensive training, the level 2 Scorpion, double shot, I think that Krabumsel could still be in a good spot here. Definitely a game that is salvageable. Mass-produced Scorpion is a great card, but perhaps not something you want to pick up if you've already invested into them. Picks up a barrier, which I find a little bit odd. Okay, goes for a Vulcan, so he feels like his Chaff clear is not good enough. I think this is probably a little bit too early. He has a lot of things that he needs here, right? Like the Mustangs kind of need some love. Picking up a few more of those would be nice. He has Incendiary Bomb on the Hounds, so if he wants to go for an oil turn, which I would recommend him to do, going for oil here to slow down this one-sided push is one of the best things you could do. And then next round you could probably try and ignite it with Incendiary and, you know, not have to buy a Vulcan here. It's an expensive round, but he has the money to still get double shot on the Scorpions and get a Sledgehammer as well. So all in all, you know, not the worst. Even picks up the Mustang level there. So kind of gets away with it. Doesn't have the money to put down the oil, but overall, perhaps in an okay spot still. Does have armor on the Sledgehammers too. Could be worth clicking down the line if he has money to spare. I think if I were to do this round, I just would have gone oil. Maybe grab another Scorpion over here. The Chaff is a bit lackluster, but I guess that's what the sledges also are for right now. The sledge packs are basically just a substitute for Chaff. Look at this. So Vulcan here gets stuck on a steel ball. The shield lasted a little while, but second tech with the missiles picked up on the Typhoons breaks it pretty quickly. Does manage to get through, and honestly the Vulcan clears nicely. The Scorpions with double shot performing a lot better this time around. Not quite able to lock onto this Typhoon though. The late Fangs causing a commotion. Right side tower for an Narayan level 3. Steel balls will still be able to take that down, but surprisingly the left side still wins. Those marksmen have been slowly picking up levels, and with the range tech being picked up for Narayan, they're doing a great job of taking down some of these Scorpions and larger units whilst staying out of harm's way. So another round now going over to Narayan, and this Typhoon, I mean, I said to, you know, look out for it. Now getting towards level 3 as we enter round number 7, kind of the last round of the mid-game here as we enter the late game. Mustang production line, great item if Krabumsel wants to go into more Vulcans. Nano repair kit, also worth considering for sure. Looks like Krabumsel just skips, though. I think I would have probably picked up the Mustang production, because he has some Mustangs on the board too, so could get some value out of that. Just goes for more Scorpions. Sensible move. I do think going for more Scorpions here makes sense. This could be a good round to try and go for oil. But it's getting out of control a little bit. I mean, Narayan's still sitting at 3.5k hit points. Probably would have wanted to get a little bit more out of the early game. But I think that's because he went for that early double attack and then bought the Scorpions maybe a bit of a turn late. It's put him in a tricky position, sitting at just under 2k. A fifth Scorpion now gets added. All right, I think we've got enough Scorpions at this point. No need to buy more of those. A Crawler up top here would be good, just to try and make sure that this first salvo from the 3 Typhoons gets pulled into a Chaff pack instead of, you know, breaking the shield instantly. Wasp Swarm, picked up by Narayan, does get blocked by a missile. Now, when it's not right on top of the Wasp Swarm, usually a couple Wasps will survive. This Crawler tends to just pull all of them, though, so he might be fine. And let's see. On this side, just more Typhoons being added. Levels picked up. Temp range even right now for both players, although neither is loaning. Scorpions are doing a great job. I mean, buying more Scorpions and having 5 of this can be an absolute menace. They start to be, I mean, not even the worst. And helping out with Chaff clear when you have this many. And yeah, look at that. The splash just completely annihilating all of these Typhoons. The Marksman, though, not doing a bad job still. Just look at that. That late Fang pack, every single time, has been causing so much trouble for Krabumsel. I mean, he's convincingly winning the left side at the start, but then the Marksmen just get to farm because of that late pack. Like, look at this. Every single Scorpion died at the hand of those Marksmen. And this is probably why getting into Mustang and having some range on them would have helped Krabumsel out tremendously. Because his board is really strong DPS-wise, but he has no techs on his arc lights, no techs on his Vulcans, no techs on his Mustang. So, chaff clear-wise, not in a good spot. The Vulcan keeps dying, you know, kind of in the mid-round. The Mustangs have no range, so they too kind of just, you know, die. 10k damage on a level 2 with improved is not fantastic. Okay, and now he realizes. So, arc lights finally get some range. It does kind of beg the question why the Vulcan is there. Although ranging it could cause trouble, as it might lock onto a shield or one of the big Typhoons and never clear. But it's a bit awkward for it to sit there, right? It's a big investment. He's not a giant spec. He had to pay for the unlock. He does get the barrier, which is a great item. And he does have this sticky oil bomb play available to him at any point. I still would like to see it come out. But it's a lot of investment in a chaff clear unit when you already have other chaff clear units on the board. Arclight Mustang is perfectly capable of chaff clearing usually. Maybe you needed one fire round, but you've got hounds for that if you really want to. Okay, and here we go, range on the Mustang as well. So finally that gets solved. Mustang gets added on the right side as well, protecting the tower somewhat. And oil is back off cooldown for Narayan. This time around gets layered horizontally. Hackers, by the way, the pickup. And all of the steel balls have been sold. So we are now getting in a Typhoon Marksman Hacker comp, which is not something I've seen, I think, before. At least definitely not at this MMR. Curious to see how this plays out. I mean, it makes some sense. High-level marksmen are scary. Typhoons are great frontliners for aggro and great at protecting the early chaff from immediately dying. And hackers are good into things like Arclight and Scorpion. So I can see this working out, but it's definitely an unusual comp. Let's see how this goes. Scorpion's getting distracted, getting hacked even. As this is working out tremendously right now for Narayan. Again, just kind of crushing here. Hackers managing to take over every single Scorpion. Mustang's dying. Right side getting through, but just not managing to get anything done in time. And if we do the tally, That's going to put Krabumsel very, very close to losing on round number 8. Here we are, round number 9, 783 hit points to his name. And here comes the unit drop. Nothing in here really helps Krabumsel that much. Sandworms, probably just too low level and will get hacked. Phoenix, I guess, the best thing to pick up. But yeah, the best thing might try to get into air. Something like a Raiden could be okay. Definitely one of the units that is decent at dealing with hackers. Mustangs, though, I do like as well. Mustang is a great unit against hackers, usually. Not the greatest against things like crawlers, but you've got the arc lights for that. And honestly, the Mustangs are quite high level now. Level 4 with the improved firepower control system. Like, look at that, right? Earlier, we saw it dealing 10k per round. Last round, it was able to dish out 66,000. So yeah, that range making a big difference. Oil finally gets put on the ground. Very nice. And we do have this frontal piece of chaff that I mentioned earlier to try and make sure this first salvo of missiles doesn't go into any important units. The good thing about Mustang here too is it doubles down as chaff, because if you do the tally, you know, Krabumsel didn't buy that much chaff in the early game. Only 4 packs of crawlers, which is not a lot for round number 9 if you compare it to how much Narayan has. Definitely on the lower end. Of course, as I mentioned, there are some mid-sized units in there that double down as chaff, but now they're becoming targets for the hackers, which is always kind of the risk that you're running. Looks like the addition of the fire, though, and those Mustangs is doing great. Hackers now under fire. Mustangs, you can see, doubling down as chaff, protecting these Scorpions from getting targeted by either the marksman or the hackers. The Vulcan with the level survives, and now Krabumsel gets a fantastic round under his belt. The fire also disappearing at the exact right moment, meaning that these Mustangs will remain alive. Only Phoenix is left and a lone level 1 marksman for Narayan. Has Krabumsel stabilized this? Hard to tell. I mean, the Mustangs will be great regardless, but it's always hard to judge around when oil was involved. But it does put Narayan down to 1300, so round 10 could just decide it. Missile strike available, another barrier too. Could be okay. Right side, maybe a little bit scary, I would say. Narayan could try and pull away all of these units to the flank and try and get a tower debuff. There's only an arc light there to protect. But look at this. Narayan going for an armor wraith play, buying 3 of them at level 2. These will block 120 damage, which is basically everything from these Mustang. And Krabumsel buying more Mustangs on this round. Only this one, the level 4, dealing 289, can basically take these out, but there's 3 of them, and still, a good amount of this damage still will get blocked. Degeneration Beam also picked up, enhancing the damage taken from Krabumsel's army, and also reducing the damage dealt by these units. That could be significant. I mean, right now, I don't know how Krabumsel gets away with this. It has to be this one hero Mustang to take them all down. Maybe if Krabumsel can win the ground very convincingly, he'll get away with this. Does click AP, which pushes the level 3 Mustangs to 200 damage. The blue ones, 133, essentially still not dealing any damage. And, I mean, only dealing 80 damage per shot instead of 200 is a big deal. Let's see. Yeah, these Wraith are not taking any damage. Keep also in mind that the Degeneration Beam is lowering the attack of these Mustangs. Yeah, here we go. 107 now with the debuff. Level 3s. Trying to find them. 160 in the Degeneration Beam. So it really is just this one lone Mustang. It's doing a good job, though. Managed to take out 2 of those Wraith already. But sadly, all of the ground units have already gone down. The tower falls. And it looks like this round will belong to Narayan. And with 3 hackers left and a Wraith plus a Typhoon, I think Narayan has managed to pull this off. An amazing missile too, taking down a couple more of those Mustangs on the right side. Some way, somehow, these units would have to kill a ton of units. Another missile there, taking down the steel balls. And that will be all she wrote for Krabumsel on round 10. So, yeah, a tough round there. As Narain finds the correct gut shot, realizing that Krabumsel was relying perhaps a bit too much on those Mustang and not really respecting the air situation that much. The Phoenix, I think, may have gotten sold on round 9. It likely would have been worth to keep around. I didn't quite see what happened there. Was it still there? Yeah, no, it got sold on round 9. I think that Krabumsel probably should have kept that just to kind of prevent himself from dying to a move like this. Of course, it's a tricky situation. I don't think I will try and replay this because I feel like, you know, it would just have to be a blind read. And I know what's happening. I know that the Wraith will be there. So I will just kind of try and talk my way through my recommendations. I think here you have to just keep the Phoenix, as I said, from the unit drop, which he did pick up. And then it would reduce his risk of dying to a Wraith play like that. You can always range the Phoenix later on. But yeah, this is the risk that you're running when you're going this heavy into ground units. Overall, a cool game for both players. Definitely an unusual comp from Narayan with the Typhoon, Marksman, and Hacker comp. Working out in the end. I think Krabumsel on defense here, perhaps investing a bit too much early onto the attack enhancement for sure. Going into Scorpions earlier would have been nice because when your opponent is playing Typhoon and Steel Ball, you have 2 reasons to buy Scorpion, and that honestly pushes it over the edge, and you should just pick them up. The Vulcan play, I think, worked out in the late rounds, but it also cost a lot of money. Now, Barrier is a great item. Really, really valuable item. But I think, you know, ranging here the Arclights a bit earlier, ranging the Mustang would have been better. And the Vulcan probably came at the cost of that, which did create some issues. Again, Firehound was available to go for a 1-round fire round. He even could have used the oil in 2 turns that way, right? So you go for 1 round of oil slow and then 1 round of oil fire, which should be able to get you 2-round wins. Yeah, but, you know, that's just maybe nitpicking a little bit. Hope you guys liked this. If you did, please leave a thumbs up. Let me know down below what you thought about this game. Is it something that you've seen before? And what about Typhoon, Hacker, Marksman? Is it a comp that you're familiar with? Because it's not something I have seen that much, I have to say. With that being said, take care, guys, and see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.